Wrestling fans, now you too can look as cool as Monty and the Pharaoh by wearing the official Monty and the Pharaoh sunglasses at night for $8.99 each. That's only $8.99 each. Now available at montyandthepharaoh.com. Punk.
What? Yeah. No, I'm behaving myself. No, I'm not playing in abandoned buildings. What? Again? Now, I suppose you had those people follow me again. Fine. Hey, this is Jimmy Farrow from Monty and the Pharaoh, and I want to thank all our subscribers. We have now passed 14,000 on our YouTube channel. But I want to ask our subscribers to take the next step for us and become a full-fledged member of Monty and the Pharaoh. Yeah, that's right, folks. There's 3 different levels to choose from. There's free shirts. There's free autographs. Just check it out and become a member of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh. Later.
All right, welcome back to a special Saturday show with Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh, produced out of Indie Music TV. Matty Ice back in the production room, straight out of Thursday. How was your Friday afternoon, Matthew?
So far, not bad.
You're looking fresh. I didn't catch off of Thursday's conversation. You did get a haircut.
Yeah,
It looks good.
thank you. I decided to get everything cut off, as you can see, and
What's the longest you ever grew your hair?
well, when I was a kid, I used to grow it like a mullet.
A mullet?
Nice.
Yeah, I would have full-grown
A mullet.
blonde hair.
Well, what was the influence behind that? You had some old
My
80s
dad.
heavy metal records? I mean, what are you talking about?
My dad used to grow a mullet, so I wanted
mullet.
to be just like my dad.
Matt, if you could look on
Right.
social media, you could see the Pharaoh.
What?
Back in the day,
Don't
his
you
hair
dare.
is literally down to his ass. It
Yes.
looks like a
Really?
fucking horse.
Like a
Wow.
horse.
Yeah,
Dude, the hair.
It
is
was,
like
wait a
down
minute.
here.
Now, wait a minute. It
Now I
was
have to do
Robert
some
Plant,
research.
Led Zeppelin, no mullet. It was a real deal thing, and you're comparing it to a horse.
So you go
Mr. Ed,
you
Batman.
Go
What the
from Mr.
fuck?
Ed to
What?
the
You prick. Would you stop it? Cut it out. Behave. We have a
I'll
guest.
stop. I gotta
It's a
stop.
special show. and-
Wow.
I can't. Go on.
All right.
Go
well,
on.
News of the day, Jimmy.
Yeah, what do you got?
And we'll probably touch with our guest what he thinks about this,
Okay,
right?
fair enough. What do you got?
The U.S. and Europe are very upset as they warn Russia over their military activity. Brussels, the European Union, said Friday that it was alarmed by Russian military activities close to the Ukraine border. See, you should have had that in order, right?
It is in order. Go on.
Right?
Go on.
They voiced their concern and what is going on with Russia right now. Thoughts?
They warned Russia.
That's what it says.
That's like walking up to Andre the Giant and going, "You better not drink that last beer, or I'm just gonna." What are you kidding me? What's the point of warning? What are the point of words when it comes to something like
I think
this?
the bigger concern that we have here, my
Russia
friend.
don't give two shits.
But,
I mean,
but I think the bigger concern is
What?
that Russia feels that they can do what they want now, right?
What do
Which
you
they
mean?
weren't doing about I don't know, a year ago.
let's not get into
Oh, you want to get suspended again?
Yeah, you're looking for another suspension.
A
you
year
know.
ago, this shit wouldn't have been going on.
What are you talking about? Of course not. I mean, I agree completely. You don't talk shit when you know that the one you're talking shit to might smack you in the mouth. Well, it's a
so now you have
completely
worldwide
different
disease.
deal right now.
You have worldwide disease, eventually you have worldwide famine, and now we got Russia's going to start marching on the world.
Right.
Like the Planet of the Apes.
Right, and
Beneath
we
the Planet of the Apes.
You know what? Okay, I'll get real for just a brief second. I really, my worst nightmare is that China and Russia decide to tag up, and next thing you know, you got Kong and Godzilla, and all we got is
hell-
Mothra. This is no good.
Mothra.
Anyway, whatever. But Mothra always seemed to win in the end anyway, so maybe.
We're Mothra? The U.S. is Mothra?
Well, we're the good guys, aren't we?
But Mothra?
Are we the bad guys?
You should be King Kong, at least. A Mothra?
Well, King Kong is a good guy.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
So, dude, I was watching HBO, right? And I was
Okay.
thinking about...
I don't have a TV.
I was thinking
What's it
about
like to
wrestling.
watch HBO? Go on.
But, you
Go
know,
on.
so there's a documentary on the late night wars. Do you remember back in the 90s and the late 80s, the late night wars between Letterman, Leno, and O'Brien?
Yeah, sure.
Very interesting stuff,
Sure.
dude.
What,
I
is
recommend
is-
fans out there to watch it.
Is O'Brien ECW in these wars compared to WWE and WCW? Because I'm kind of feeling that way right
Good
now.
question. That is a good question. I wasn't thinking about that.
We go so far back. I remember when Leno was just a comedian appearing on David Letterman's show, and he was funny as hell, man. He was a funny guy. You know, he actually metamorphed into one of the all-time talk show hosts.
Who was your fan?
I would love David Letterman. Period.
So Letterman was your guy.
Yeah, the Letterman was there before everybody but Johnny. Our parents, Johnny was the guy. But for us, it was this young dude named Dave Letterman who had all these awesome bands on, and he was funny as shit. And we had, all sorts of great skits he would do and stuff. David Letterman was awesome.
It's
back
good
in the
that
day.
you talk about Letterman because he's kind of like you.
What?
He was under, he couldn't handle the stress, dude. He was he could not deal with the pressure. He would watch himself and go, I suck.
Oh, he was
kind of
rough.
like Farrell.
Well, you know what? Letterman was an artist at what he did, and that's fair to say. And, he was one of those guys who took his craft very seriously and kind of almost would, a little extreme, but it would almost Heath Ledger him from time to time. Heath Ledgerman, clearly an obsessed artist, and look what happened to Heath Ledger, but the brilliance, sometimes there's a price that comes with being brilliant,
Anyway, I want to...
We get to benefit, but some of them don't in the end.
I want to give some quick shout-outs before we get to our guest. We've got Chris Lee moderating. Chris, thanks. Brandon Bates, welcome. Stinger, Maria Davis, how are you? Davio, welcome back. Rob B, what's up, man? How are you? Phil, my friend, how are you? Happy Friday. I could see that we're taking over. So I guess SmackDown viewers will be down this.
Well,
right?
they took my recommendation.
Like a lot of people
Put
tuning in
SmackDown
right
on
now.
DVR and watch Monty
Hayes
the Pharaoh
Machine,
live with
welcome.
Wolfie
How
D.
are you, sir? How are you? And if anyone didn't know, Yard Ape, welcome back, my friend.
Yard Ape.
Yard Ape making an
Nice.
appearance, right?
Nice.
If you didn't know it, that was the star, or that is the star of the show, Mr. Jimmy Farrow. Jimmy, how are you?
Here, I'm good. What's
I
going
would like to thank the band that sings the theme song for Monty and the Pharaoh, our own Jimmy Farrow, along with his partner Bart Griggs, make up the band to Wisteria Hall. Get Wisteria Hall songs on Spotify, Apple Music, download it on Reverb Nation, and please go to their YouTube page and give them a little like and subscribe, where you can hear such great songs as In My Dreams, This Life, Not Far Behind, Here Comes the Rain. What's the Tony Atlas theme song?
Riding High, Finest
Hold on,
Hour.
man.
Finest Hour is the Tony Atlas theme song.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. And if everybody knows, Tony Atlas has a weekly show on our channel,
That's
along
right.
with
Macho Man.
Macho
Man Days. Macho Man Days.
Not the real Macho Man. I don't think skeletons can speak.
What do you mean he's not the real Macho Man? You could have fooled me. Go on.
No, I'm talking about the dead
I
Macho
know.
Man.
Would you please?
And by the way, you're wearing your ESO shirt,
Yes.
individually numbered
Yes,
by one
yes.
of our sponsors.
Yes.
It looks pretty sharp on
Monty
you,
and
my
the
friend.
Pharaoh. Yeah, thank you. Not
And if
bad.
you didn't know, you're watching Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh. Catch Monty and the Pharaoh on the Monty and the Pharaoh YouTube page and Monty and the Pharaoh Facebook Live page. Hear us on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Twitch TV, and if you're lucky enough to live in New York, catch us on Channel 115 every Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. and Saturday at 11:30 p.m. as we go head-to-head
With SNL.
with SNL.
Why not?
And Channel 20 on Tuesdays at 1 a.m. for people who just have no life.
Wait a minute. You just described me. Shut up.
There you go.
I'm up all night. Leave me alone.
And I want to thank all the fans that tune in every week in New York Cable. 80,000 viewers and getting stronger.
Yep.
We'll be right back with our guest. And I'm not going to tell you who our guest is right now.
I might have
because,
given it away
it's,
already, but-
it's advertised, but there's been some changes. So we're going to get to him. But we have learned that he's actually a competitor of ours, and he will mention what he does on the side. I guess.
Bad.
Why not? After this commercial break.
Oh. See you in a second.
You're giving it away.
No, I'm not. I'm just howling at the moon. M&J Video Games and Collectibles. Sport and non-sport cards, wrestling items, autographed items. We buy, sell, and trade. M&J Video Games and Collectibles, located at 1049 Queen Street, Southington, Connecticut. Call us at 1-860 479-9223 or 860-93-GAMES. M&J, video games and collectibles.
Hi, it's John from Under the Table Hot Sauce. I'm here with my friend, the star of the show, Jimmy Farrow.
Yeah, what's up, JB?
Nah, nothing.
It's been a hot summer, and for all your barbecue needs, you can go to underthetablehotsauce.com. 13 unique flavors to choose from, created and bottled in a Long Island kitchen. Underthetablehotsauce.com. Let's go chow, JB.
Let's do it.
All the flavor, twice the burn.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty DeFaro, produced out of Indie Music TV, which we just found out that the box of wine is empty.
That's rough. It's rough.
Our special guest, welcome aboard, Mr. Wolfie D. How are you, sir?
Man, thank you guys for having me, man. It's my pleasure to be here.
It's our honor to have you, sir, for
Oh,
sure.
thank you.
But obviously for the fans, we realize that your other half is in here,
Yeah.
and neither is his father.
Well, he gets a pass.
The
Bill
father-
gets a pass.
Why does the father get a pass?
Because Bill is in bad health. Bill has
Superstar Bill Dundee.
Yes, Bill has. He's dealing with dementia and things like that. He has a person like he was unable to get on the plane by himself, and the person that travels with him and does some of the booking for him and things like that is evidently having heart troubles. Was in the hospital, so Bill gets a pass. Jamie, however, JC Ice, Jamie Dundee, does not get a pass with me. And in the past, I don't know, 12 hours, I've decided that this is why we broke up, this kind of stuff right here, man. He's a selfish, unprofessional fucking asshole, to be quite frank about it. You heard it here. I've really washed my hands with him at this point because I also just found out probably about an hour ago from Dangerous Doug Gilbert. He actually talked to Jamie. Jamie hasn't answered Eric's calls, my calls for about the past 24 hours. And he talked to Doug today through text and sent a text. Doug screenshot and showed it to me that it said, I don't know what Doug didn't show me what he said. It probably had something to do with, hey, I got a booking for you, something. Well, Jamie's answer was, laughing my ass off, book it, I'll be there, LOL. So he knows what he's doing. He knows we're trying to get in touch with him. What he doesn't really fucking understand is how many people this has affected. You know, you guys were expecting to have both of us here. The virtual signing I just did probably suffered a little bit because, you know, unfortunately being a tag team sometimes sucks when you got a fuck up partner like him that, you know, the people want both of us, you know. I didn't get over just by being Wolfie D. Although I was the creator of the gimmick, I wrote all the raps, the Nation of Domination rap. I did all that shit. And they still want the two and not just the one. But I'm telling you, this one made the fucking team and carried us along. And to this day, I'm still the business professional. I'm not sitting here trying to put myself over, but I'm really fucking pissed off at him that he's fucked so many people
Would
today.
it be fair, though? I mean, and I'm saying this respectfully.
Yeah.
During your professional career with him,
Mm-hmm.
you were the Genetti, right? Is that a fair comment? And you allowed yourself to be the Genetti?
I don't think so. I don't think, not to that degree. I was the workhorse of the team, but I could talk.
You were the wrestler. You were the wrestler,
Yeah.
but you weren't like the front man. Right?
Yeah.
You were the guy.
He was the stick guy, you know, and a lot of times Jamie's shit was cheap heat anyway. But in the ring, we were great together, and you know, maybe you could compare it like that, but I don't think he wasn't Sean. I'll tell you that much. You know, Jamie got over because he's so over the fucking top that, you know, and people want to hear that type of shit, and that's fine, and I get it. And Jamie's a funny fucker, man. He really is. You know, after spending so many years with him, I can only take him in doses, but he is funny, man. Some people are annoyed by him, and he rubs them the wrong way.
I got to go back to what you said.
Okay.
Right? I'm just telling you personally.
Yeah.
I didn't really, you know, just seeing Jamie Dundee How did you deal with that shit? That had to be a living fucking torture. I mean, I'm serious.
Yeah.
It was like hearing that bullshit all day long.
Oh yeah,
my
because it's a
God.
lot of rehash. It to the person that hasn't been around him, it's great. You know what I mean? But I've heard the same shtick over and fucking over and fucking over. But I mean, he there was some funny times and he's done some funny stuff, man. I mean, him confronting. Have you heard the story of him and Kim Shamrock?
No.
So it's Ken Shamrock's first day in WWE, or F back then. I don't remember where we were, but the dressing room was just one big room, you know, lockers all around. It was some big arena, obviously like a team locker room, you know. So there's a big open area. Well, it's kind of early in the day. Ken's already dressed, okay? And he's sitting over there real serious, not really talking to anybody. And Jamie was a big UFC mark, you know, because that was kind of in the days when it wasn't as over as it is now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
the
He was in the and he was a big mark for it. So Jamie looks over there from across the room now, and there's all the guys sitting in there. You got, you know, everybody. And Jamie looks at him, and he sticks his leg out. He stands up, he sticks his leg out, and he goes, "Are you Ken Shamrock?" And Ken's like, "Yeah." You know, like, who the fuck is this dude? Ken, you know, don't know Jamie from fucking Adam. Jamie sticks his leg out and he pats it. He said, "Why don't you jump on in here and get you some of that?" And fucking, brother, the whole locker room was like, "Ooh!" And Ken just Ken's like, looking at it like, who is this motherfucker? Then, because everybody's kind of laughing and shit, and then he kind of looks, and then he gets a grin on his face and everything. And I don't remember how Jamie ended, but only Jamie can get away with shit. If I would have done that to Ken, he'd probably jump up and tackle me.
Right, yeah.
But Jamie could get away with shit like that. He also had this thing that he would do, and I want to say it was that same night. Have you seen the two guys that do the dick tricks as a comedy routine?
Yeah.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, sure.
Jamie's the fucking originator of that shit. I promise you this. He's got a very little Peter, okay? So it's not offensive. That's what he used to tell everybody. I can do this and it's not offensive. He did it in Denny's one time. Pulled his fucking pants down, okay? And he'll twist it where his nuts are on top and his dick's on the bottom. And he had a name for that. I forget what that was. Then he'd tuck it between his legs and get on all fours and crawl around. He called that the bulldog. Just all kinds of shit like this. And fucking that night, he was doing it in the floor. And he was actually in the floor doing it. And Taker walks in. They knew each other from past. Jamie knew all of them from the past. And that's kind of why he was so brash there, because he didn't come in humble. He knew all the guys. You know what I mean? So Taker walks in. He says, "Jamie, I'd shake your hand, but every time I see you, you're playing with your dick."
There you go. Oh my
Shit
God.
like that. But he got away with shit like, and did it in Denny's. Swear to God, true story. Did it in Denny's. Had the cooks out laughing at everybody in the middle of the night. Him and Brian Lawler all jacked up.
How was Brian Lawler? Did you get along with that guy?
Yeah, I got along with Brian. I loved working with Brian. Brian was a great worker. We had great matches against each other as well as with each other. And as a person, now we all know he had his demons and shit like that. And when he would get really fucked up, he was a weird motherfucker, man. Like, he would get very violent and things like that. But then the other Brian was the guy that would, you know, take kids and do special things for them at the shows, you know, stuff like that. But yeah, I liked Brian, man.
You've been the partner of a you know, the son of a Dundee, and
Yeah.
you've gotten to know the son of a Lawler. Mm-hmm. How heavy is the weight for those guys to have to carry the shadows of their fathers?
I think that's probably both of them's. That was their downfall, was that, you know. And Bill Jamie would tell me stories, you know. He was never around, first of all, because that was in his heyday, you know. He was never around. And when he was, you know, wasn't a father to him. And Lawler wasn't really, I've always said this, man, with Kevin and Brian, was more like their buddy than their dad, you know. At Brian's funeral, though, I saw a whole different side of Jerry. You know, he broke down, cried. That's the first time I'd ever seen Jerry show any kind of emotion like that and things like that. But yeah, man, Bill used to fucking, you know, slap Jamie, but Jamie would steal from him. He'd steal his gimmick money and like go to the arcade. And one time Bill tracked him down at the arcade and fucking spun him around and slapped the fucking shit out of him right there at the fucking middle of the arcade and shit. So I mean, it's got to be heavy. It really does. You know, Brian got ribbed heavily when he first went to WWE. You heard the stories about that. They duct taped him to the fucking toilet and all kinds of shit.
No, can you tell one? Can you tell
Well, that one I know. I wasn't there.
Duct taped him to the toilet.
Yeah, he was taking a shit, and JBL, I don't know, somebody else, they went in and duct taped him literally to the fucking toilet.
Wow.
What's your memories of JBL? Is he the asshole everybody seems to hear about? Or what?
He was all right with me, man. He thought we ribbed him one time and was going to get him back, and we really didn't. It was early, and we was at an arena that had a gym in it, right? And we walked down there, and we saw that it was open, and it was open. People were in there working out. And as we were walking back, we passed him. In some of those arenas, that's a long walk. So as we passed him, he's like, "Hey, is the gym open?" He's like, "Yeah." So he just turned around and went and got dressed. Well, by the time he got back down there, it was closed.
Oh my God.
So he comes to us, "Oh, that's fucking real funny, guys. Real fucking funny. I'm going to get you. Man, we swear to God, it was open."
I want to go back to Brian now.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on what happened that night in that cell? I mean, obviously you don't know, but I just want you to share your thoughts. I mean, it's such an open case. Like, how does this even happen?
Well, I think it's fucking weird that the cameras just happen to be out, or so they say, and that nobody was watching. They say he had defensive marks on the insides of his hands, and that the marks on his neck didn't go right here where his hands were. So there's marks around here. And I don't see, how the fuck do you hang yourself from a jail bunk? I've been in jail, and it's not that high. How the fuck do you hang yourself from that unless you just kick your feet out and kind of slump down? It doesn't make sense to me, man. And I think Brian liked Brian too much to do something like that. But at the same time, you never know what state of mind he was in. I know that he had, was telling his dad on the phone, before that happened that day, and I think the previous day, stuff like that. "Dad, you got to get me out of here. These motherfuckers are corrupt, and this sheriff don't fucking like me, and blah, 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 blah." So, I mean, if I was just a guessing man, I think something shady happened.
It's messed up to think that that's still possible in today's...
Yeah, but hey, the cameras were out.
Right.
Exactly.
Very strange.
A lot of strange things going on in the world.
Very strange. Was there any kind of warning signs before today? Of course, today we're all a little irritated with Dundee Jr., but were you getting any warnings of this in past bookings? Was he blowing you off in the past recently, or?
Well, me and Jamie haven't done anything together in quite a few years.
All right.
And we don't even really talk. We've talked more in the past probably 2 months because of we're getting these little mini figures made and shit like that. So we've talked about that and different shit and building up to this. Hey, let's take this there. Let's get this made and take this there. Right. So we've talked. I had no clue that the fucker wouldn't show up, man.
I could tell you from talking to other agents, because you have signings set up, right? Because we talk to everybody in this little world of wrestling. Yeah. You guys were hot. A lot of people were waiting for this. This was a big deal.
Oh, man.
Listen, I know you haven't spoken to him, but maybe you have on this particular issue. But
nope.
Guy had a rough deal. He lost his sister. Mm-hmm. He lost his brother-in-law. Any thoughts on that? Did he share anything with you on that?
He talked about his sister like shit all the time. I mean, Jamie's like that, man. Him and Bill hadn't talked in years until Bobby and his sister lived in Jamie's mother's house. Okay. So when that all went down, Jamie thought he was getting all the money from that house. And this is coming from Jamie, so you don't know how much of this is a shoot or not. But he told me that when his mother died, before she died, that him and her went and got some kind of something together where it was all going to him. But then the Bill's people that are handling him now, something where it all went to Bill. And I think basically just recently when it was settled or whatever, I think out of kindness, they fucking gave Jamie some money out of it. Because he did get some money out of it, but he didn't get all of it. But I think I don't think they had to. I think out of kindness, they gave him a substantial amount of money for that house. So I know that he's bought a motorcycle. This motherfucker went and bought a flamethrower. He sent me a fucking video.
Flamethrower?
Did you see it?
No, didn't see
He
it.
fucking is out in his yard. I don't know if it's on Facebook. He sent it to me personally, I think. I don't remember. It may be on there. But anyway, he sends me a video. It's at night, and he's got this fucking backpack on and a fucking shooting this fucking
His
flame
new toy.
across the yard. And the funniest thing to me was in the background, see, he's got this shrine of himself and myself, mostly himself, but I'm in most of the pictures, you know what I mean?
Right.
But it's a storage unit basically. And the walls are covered, you know, all this shit. And then on the fucking outside of it, just like our gimmick, he's got spray painted like graffiti PG-13 on it in his backyard. So when he's fucking blows that thing, it lights it up and everything. I said, "Oh my god, this motherfucker!"
Lit the logo up on fire with the flamethrower?
Yes,
Pretty
no, he
cool.
wasn't shooting it at the building. He was shooting it just when he shot it. Like the building's over here, and when he
Yeah.
shot it, it obviously lights
it lit
up
up that,
because it was
yeah.
nighttime.
I figured he just lit the damn logo on fire. That would have been really cool.
Now you got out of wrestling, right? And from what I understand, you're pretty high level. You own a pretty high level car dealership, right? Am
I don't
right?
own it. I don't own it. I just got into car sales like about 2016 was my last match. I tore my tricep off the bone, had surgery for that, and at that point, I just kind of said, you know what? It's really not worth it anymore. I really have nothing left to prove. I didn't get rich in this business, but I was on WrestleMania. I wrestled for every major company in the United States. And why am I going to keep going out here, you know, on this independent circuit? And I could still get paid on the independent circuit, but it's so, you know, it's here, there stuff. You know, you can't really make a living at that anymore.
Yeah, what's your take on the current state of independent wrestling?
I don't really care for it, man. I'll say this, man. A lot of these guys, see, I was lucky when I got in, man. Got to wrestle with guys that had been around a long time. Pez Watley, Chris Champion took me under his wing. OVW's, creator, Danny Davis. I wrestled him every single fucking night when I started USWA. You know, usually we do a single. Jamie would work Ken Wayne in a single, then we'd come back in a tag later, stuff like that. Danny Davis taught me how to work. I got to work with some of the best, man. Tommy Rich and Doug Gilbert and, you know, just all these people, man. And these guys today, they don't have that. They have each other, you know? So it's like, it's the blind leading the blind. Can they do more shit than I could ever do? Absolutely. They're great athletes, but it's just the storytelling is not there. Nobody can throw a punch anymore. And it's all forearms. And to me, that drives me crazy because I guess being a Memphis guy, it's all about the brawl, man. That's how we drew money there, was we brawled. We also did wrestling moves, but we brawled a lot of punches. If you came from Memphis, you had to be able to throw a punch or you wasn't getting over. But nobody sells anything. It's like a video game, and everybody looks alike. That's the other thing I can't stand. Like the gimmicks are so few and far between. And I'm a gimmick guy, man. Look at my, you know, I came up with the PG-13. I came up with Slash. You know, I've always liked the gimmicks. My favorite wrestlers were the gimmick guys, you know. So I think that's what it's missing too, is you got to have some, because to me wrestling is live action superheroes, right? Mm-hmm. And I also think that what's happened now, UFC starts getting over. All these guys are marks for UFC, so they want to emulate, you know, so-and-so, they throw these kicks and they don't even go down. Well, that's fucking UFC, and people know that's a fucking shoot. If I want to watch wrestling, I want to be fucking entertained. The guys that get over can talk, and they don't even really have to do that many fucking moves, man. I call it putting sauce on it. You know, think about it. Dusty Rhodes, a fucking elbow, okay? Somebody goes out there, just does an elbow, okay. But he put all that shit into it, and the motherfucker would fly. You know, so it's about the show to me.
So, on that note, Hulk Hogan, Kenny Omega, who are you watching?
Hulk Hogan.
Thank you.
Hulk
He
Hogan.
rules.
Well, that's a simple one, man.
No, well, to us it is, but
what-
today's generation, I can hear the 25-year-olds going, "What are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
So trust me, it's a valid question. I love your answer.
What brought you into the world of wrestling? What turned you on to it as a kid?
Okay, so
Did you tell your parents like I want to be a wrestler, and they said, "Listen, Sonny,
Get out.
shut up."
well, my
Unless you're Jamie
stepfather,
Dundee.
my stepfather, he came into my life when I was about 8 years old. I didn't even think I knew wrestling existed up until that point. Well, he liked watching wrestling. My stepfather was about 6'9", about 350.
Oh, man.
He's
So
a
he's
big
like a
dude.
wrestler.
Yeah,
Man.
and he, I could get into a big long story about this, but he had told me that he was a wrestler and blah 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 back in the day. Blah 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 blah. That all turned out to be bullshit. But he did get into business at the same time that I got into business, and that's when I figured everything out. So there was animosity there for a long time.
Okay.
But he's gone now, and it's just whatever. I don't want to talk bad about him, but he watched it all the time. We watched Memphis wrestling, and I immediately fell in love with it. Immediately, and I swear to God, it was that quick where I went, "That's what I want to do. I want to do that." So when I was 15, he and another guy named Rick Reynolds were going to Gypsy Joe. So Joe lived in Nashville. That's where I was born and raised. And they were going to a ring out in West Nashville. It was in a barn. It had no canvas. It only had carpet on it, hose pipes for ropes, and it had been in the elements, so the carpet smelled like fucking cat piss. And I knew they were going, and I begged him and begged him and begged him and begged him, please take me, please take me. I was 15, and they finally did. So Joe started training me, and I would get everything just like that. And Joe was like very, very impressed. And they put me in the ring pretty quick. I didn't train for that long. I really didn't. I'm talking about a couple of weeks, maybe a month at most. And I don't mean every day. And then, at 16, I had my first match. But that's what drew me in, again, was I started watching Memphis wrestling. And the characters and the brawling and all that stuff. And that's why I say today's product, I'm not saying these guys ain't good. It's just not the same, and it's not what I signed up for. Therefore, I'm not a fan of it.
Right.
So.
Do you watch any of it right now at all?
Nope. I've tried a couple of times.
The reason I ask you,
Yeah.
we feel we're old school guys, right? We
Right.
grew up on, he started with later San Martino, and then
Right.
Yeah.
Backlund.
Valentine.
We're Northeast guys, so we
Greg
weren't
Valentine.
Memphis
Right,
guys,
right.
obviously, but
Oh,
we're
yeah.
trying to put them together. But what do you think about Roman Reigns?
From what I've seen, I mean, he looks the part, and what I do see on Facebook when people post clips and things like that, and every now and then, if I see something, I'm like, for instance, this. Let me answer your question first. Sorry, I'll get off subject because I'm batty like that. I mean, I think he's improved a whole lot from what I can tell. Like I say, I'm not watching all his matches. I'm not watching full matches, none of that stuff. He's improved a whole lot. He seems to be getting over. He's not your next coming, which you got to have. The Hulk Hogan's, the Rocks, the Stone Colds, those
Right.
guys. I don't think he's them, but from what I see, I mean, he's solid, man. And who else are they going to put the belt on?
You think wrestling will ever see another Hogan or something like that?
Yeah.
Another Hogan would be hard to do, but how about another Punk maybe, or a Jericho, or somebody?
But even a Punk, man. Okay, I'm gonna give you my opinion on that because I worked.
By the
with
way,
him.
his name is Phil Brooks.
Phil
You
Brooks.
can
We
call him
call
Phil.
him Phil Brooks, yeah.
Oh
Phil
no,
here.
we got Punk fans.
Yeah.
Um,
No, not him.
No.
Me. It's a
Okay.
long-running joke.
Well, let me say this: when he came into TNA, when I was Slash, he was with Raven, him and Julio De
There you
Niro
go.
working
Yep.
us. I honestly, I thought, okay, I mean, the kid's decent, he's
Are
solid.
you baffled by his popularity? I mean,
In a way, I am. But here's the thing. I never really watched his WWE run.
Right.
I never really watched
It's
it.
fantastic.
They say he's good on the mic and all that
great.
kind of stuff. And here's my thoughts on the current deal. I did watch, because there was so much hoopla about it, I did watch his entrance when he returned. It was great. But now what?
Thank you.
And here's the thing.
yeah, but you also look like
he's-
you could take him out back and beat the tar out of him.
And probably could. Because I seen him fight Teddy Hart at the. So, at any rate, I said this. I said this on my podcast. We'll get into that in a minute. I said when that happened.
This podcast. Go on.
When that happened, I told my co-host, because we made it a question, and I said, AEW does not have that guy. They're popular with a lot of the internet people, but they are never going to get mainstream. And to get when I say mainstream, there's wrestling fans that are going to watch and bitch and moan and groan regardless. Okay, and they're going to like some stuff, but mostly they hate stuff now.
Right.
But they continue to watch it.
Yep.
They don't have Punk's not that guy that is going to take it to that level to where the my girlfriend's grandmother is going to watch wrestling.
Right.
But
Right.
when you had Hulk Hogan come into wrestling,
Grandma
was watching this shit.
Grandma's in the room.
People that normally would not watch wrestling were watching it.
Yep.
Same with Stone Cold. Same with The Rock. Nobody that I see, and it's not a knock on none of them, but it's that X factor. You can't teach it. You have to just have it. And it has to be also right dude at the right time, in my opinion. And they just don't have that.
How about Cena, the last truly great superstar? Possibly. John Cena is a superstar.
All right. Well, here we go.
Is he possibly the last great one, or in your opinion, is he even
Well,
in
let
that category?
me just add to that. The game's changed. The WWE smartened up, and they said, "Hey, look, we're not." And again, I push AEW to the side because the fans that love that crap is just people that. Whatever.
Wait a minute.
Anyway, WWE smartened up. They said no more Stone Colds, no more Hulk Hogan's, right? And John Cena to me was the last Hogan, Stone Cold, whatever.
I would agree
Your
with that.
opinion.
But company created, though, not so much where the individual calls all the shots. Cena's more company created, but I still feel, we still feel, he's the last truly great
And I
superstar.
agree with that. I just have a personal bias to it because that guy right there, standing behind you with the shorts and the tennis shoes and all that, that was the first guy to do that gimmick. I think that
true.
John Cena is a complete ripoff of PG-13, Wolfie D, whatever you want to say.
With that,
We were first. We were before Public Enemy. We were before, what was the other one? Too Cool. Too Cool was PG-13.
You were definitely Public Enemy before Public Enemy. Yeah, for sure. With that, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're back with the great Wolfie D, and we'll cover some more stuff.
Man, he just nailed that. See you in a sec.
In the mood for a freshly roasted cup of coffee? www.offtherailscoffeeroasters.com. Jimmy, I gotta take a dump.
What?
No, I mean I need a dumpster.
Well, for all those needs, you need to call Big V Dumpster Rental, Long Island, New York, 631-900-DUMP. The Monty and the Pharaoh Show is brought to you by...
Because wine is your second favorite four-letter word. California wine, New York attitude. Good fucking wine.
Yeah.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestler broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh, filmed out of Indie Music TV, where we have our special guest, Mr. Wolfie D. Hey, I got to tell you, great conversation. Give a plug to your podcast.
Yeah, it's called Live and in Color with Wolfie D. I have a co-host, and a lot of times we talk Memphis wrestling. We kind of started out just going through my career. That's what we were doing, talking about the start to finish to when we got the push, and then we went to WWF and blah, 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 blah. So we kind of went in order, and then I started saying, hey, we need some guests. And I've had some pretty good guests, and we've gotten really good numbers, as I told you guys. Out of the top 200 that are actually ranked in the United States, I stay around 50, and I have no sponsors. So, all the guys that are up top there, got
Which kind of
sponsors and
pisses
stuff.
me off. I got to be honest with you. Because, we're doing okay audio-wise, but not like that. I mean, I think we hit 26 one time in the United States. Most of our popularity, as I said, is on cable and on YouTube. So, after the show, we'll be enemies, but that's okay. But no, definitely, great conversation.
Yeah, it's on all the major platforms, Apple, Spotify, all that stuff. And like I said, we've had some good guests. I've had Lawler, Ricky Morton, Coco Beware, Kevin Thorne, Savio Vega, D'Lo Brown. man, I can't even remember all of them. And as I said, not every one. I've got one that I do every once in a while. We take questions through the week, and the episode is called Ask Wolfie Anything.
So I'm gonna
and that one actually does the best.
Now I'm
going
going
to
to test you though, because being the broadcaster that you are, you said you had D'Lo Brown on, right? And you had a good conversation with D'Lo.
Yeah.
You know where I'm going with this.
Yeah, I know. Drive the bus.
Right? Did you ask D'Lo how he felt about crippling Draws and ruining his life?
No, I didn't get into
Why
that
not,
with him.
Mr. Broadcaster?
Let's call me wrestler first. So this is a new venture for me.
And to add to that, how difficult was the transition, Mr. Broadcaster? Oh my Lord!
Well, I feel that my obviously my wrestling background. I talk all the time.
Yeah.
But also I feel that my car sales experience kind of helps me in this in a way, just because I'm so used to talking to people and doing all that. Because I actually am really good at that. Although I'm kind of getting burned out on it. But and you can make some great money in the car business, man. I'm talking good money, but it's so much time being at the lot. And I don't know. I'm just kind of getting burned out on it after 4 or 5 years now, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, you know, I know that you guys, PG-13, wrestled at Hardcore Heaven 97 ECW, if I'm not mistaken. Recently, we lost one of my all-time favorites, New Jack. You got some memories or stories you want to share with us about New
I know.
Jack?
The funniest thing about New Jack to me was and you know, New Jack didn't like everybody. But he always liked me and Jamie. Yeah.
Surprise!
He always liked me
He
and
didn't like
Jamie.
me either.
He didn't like you?
That's okay.
He loved me!
The way he would take before the shows, because I think I only rode with him a couple times up in ECW, but he would stop before the show and get a 40 of malt liquor, something like St. Ides or Colt 45 or something
Colt
like
45, nice.
and put it, and this in the middle of summer, put that shit in the trunk and leave it there. You know, get to the show a little bit early. And after the show, he'd come out and guzzle that boiling hot fucking malt liquor. And I thought, how the fuck does he even take the cold malt liquor ain't good.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So he used to do that. And we all know the things he would do before he went out to the ring. I really don't need to elaborate on that. But, man, and I had good matches with him. I had a singles match with him in TNA, and we got down, man. And you know, he would work with me great, and I really can't complain about New Jack. You know, some of the things he's done, I don't agree with. You know, you can shoot on somebody, but don't stab the motherfucker. And also, I think the Vic Grimes thing was a little bit over the fucking top. He could have fucking killed.
Well, we speak about it all the time. Like New Jack, they really hit it off. They really seem to really get along.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
To me, he seemed like a really bad person.
Yeah. And I see what you're saying. I mean, anybody that does that kind of stuff, and sometimes I'm not sure whether he was playing his character, like you see Dark Side of the Ring on him and everything, and he has no remorse for that shit.
Right.
Or is he working to make himself appear more psychotic?
Right.
So I don't know. I really don't know.
Well, the Vic Grimes thing always, you know, there's a really fuzzy line there because, yes, when you see him throw Vic Grimes, it's like, bro, what do you do? But didn't he not lose his eyesight in a previous match from Vic?
Yeah,
He,
something like that.
He's blind in one eye from the guy.
Yeah.
So, like, I guess it's.
But that wasn't a Vic doing it on purpose, though.
No.
So and you know what I mean? Shit happens out there.
right.
Shit happens. I had a guy, and this is years ago, damn near killed me because he was just a fucking idiot. But this is like when I was probably 16, 17.
All right.
And the finish of the match is the guy runs in. I got the guy in a sharpshooter, right? And the guy's supposed to run down, throw powder in my eyes. Other dude rolls me up, whatever. So this motherfucker, he's got it. You know, remember those old camera roll little things?
Yeah, sure.
The little black.
Yeah, little
thing?
canisters. Yeah.
So he's got the baby powder filled up in there, okay? And I'm blowed up. This is the end of the match. Fucking dude opens the top, never takes it out and pours it in his hand. He just fucking throws it out of that. So as I'm inhaling a cylinder-sized thing of baby oil or baby powder goes down my fucking throat.
Wow.
And I cannot fucking breathe. I mean, literally, I thought I was fixing to die.
Yeah.
Thank God I fucking threw up.
Jesus.
I threw up right in the middle of the fucking ring to get that shit out of me. And just shit like that. So the guy could have killed me, but he didn't do it on purpose. He's just a fucking idiot.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right,
But
right.
Jack intentionally fucking
tried to
tased
do
the guy
something.
and tried to throw him to the floor, as he
Right.
said.
Did the ring rope save Vic Grimes? Because
I
when
would
you
say
watch
they
back
did.
And
I
the way
mean,
he
if he would have hit the
bounced
tables, he would have been fine, more than likely. If he'd have hit the floor, to killed him. So yeah, it looked like he threw a rag doll onto. The way his
pretty
body
much.
contorted and everything.
much.
But yeah, I'd say it saved him.
All right, I got to ask you this. A couple of fans asked a question, very interesting questions right now. They said PG-13 did not have a chance in the WWE because of Jody Lynn and heat with the Undertaker.
No, that is not true. Jody was Taker's first wife, okay? Mm-hmm. Jody, and I'll be quite frank with you, my daughter, who's 25 now, Jody and my daughter's mother used to hang out together back in the day, and we're fucking huge rats. Let's just be honest about it. So Jamie had gotten with Jody way before the Undertaker ever met her. To my knowledge, there was no, I don't even know if he knew, but there was no heat there because of that. The reason we did not,
So Taker married a rat?
Yeah. His first wife.
Wow.
And his son's mother.
Okay.
Yeah. So the reason is not that. The reason is some of the antics that I talked about earlier that Jamie would do. And we both, man, we were young. And today, these guys got people around them that will steer you in the right direction. Hey, man, you might not want to do. We didn't have that. It was like, hell, the guys wanted to come to our room because, A, we might be partying, and B, in our contract, we got a free rent-a-car, we got a free hotel room, and our payoff, and our plane ticket and whatnot. So guys would always be trying to shack up with us. The guys that had contracts that, big contracts, but their hotels and all that weren't paid
Right,
for.
all their travel.
So, hey, you got extra bed, guys? So it wasn't because of that. We partied too much and did not take the shit seriously. If I have one regret in my career, it's getting up there and not taking it seriously enough. And I just didn't.
But you guys were around Ron Simmons, and from what I've heard, again, I'm nobody, I'm just some dude, that he was a teacher to so many guys. He didn't try to pull you guys aside and say, yo, take it easy.
No.
He said, do what you want.
No. Ron go to the bar with us,
Were you pissed off that you weren't given wrestling roles in Nation of Domination?
The plan was to break us off into a tag team eventually, but I think we fucked up too much before the end of that. And see, here's the other thing. At that time, we were working for ECW, USWA, and WWF all at the same time. Jerry Lawler hated ECW, okay?
Right.
He didn't like the fact, and I'm not saying this is Lawler's fault, but I'll tell you, I'm getting into the story here. He didn't like the fact that his top tag team was only there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then we'd go up to ECW on the weekend and do Raw on Monday. We weren't there, and the company that he really didn't care for was part of that reason, So Candido was the one that got us up there, and he came to us the night it was WrestleMania. Then that Monday night is when they put us in the ring with the Road Warriors to do the squash, and they were firing us. And we knew Candido came to us and said, man, Lawler's the one doing this, blah, 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 blah. And I don't know if Candido was lying or not, but I confronted Lawler about it. Pretty intensely confronted him about it, and he denied all of it. Well, anyway, me and Jamie were very cool.
I just want to go quickly through that.
Yeah.
You confront him. You say, hey, man, what the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah.
Plus, again, it's Jamie's father, who's pretty, I guess, good friends with Lawler, right?
Yeah.
They worked such a long time
Love
together.
hate sometimes.
So what does he say to you then?
I
Can't help you?
He denied that he had anything to do with the reason we were being let go.
But didn't he say, okay, let me see what I can do with the office?
Nah. And it might have had something to do with the way that I came at him, right. But he just, that never happened. And so anyway, me and Jamie were very cool with Hawk and Animal. And we went to them and we said, guys, this is, who hasn't done a job for the Road Warriors? Those are my heroes. I did not give a fuck about that. It's the fact that I knew the reason why they were doing this, and it was going to hurt us as being in ECW, you know, because we figured, okay, we'll just leave here and go work for Paul E all the time. So we knew that was going to hurt us, which it did. But we went to them and said, man, we're not doing this. And I remember Hawk saying, I don't blame you, you know, because he understood. They got it, and they knew us, you know what I mean? And so we got our shit. We was already dressed and everything. We just grabbed our bags. We went to the car. Here comes Shawn Michaels and Jim Ross running out to the car, literally, or Shawn was. They sat there and they're like, please come in and do business with us, please. We're like, no, this is fucking bullshit. We know what's going on here, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, they said, no, this is just a business decision, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean?
Right.
So Shawn said, look, he said, I will get you guys paid for the next month, which means we would have got our nightly money without being there for the next month, which added up to about $3,000, I think. So, you know, we were like, okay, yeah, for you, you know, because Shawn was actually pretty cool with us too. So we went back in and we did what I think was a great, because they even gave us a little bit, you know. Hawk's like, hey, you pile drive me. Well, pile drive you? He's like, yeah, I'm just going to no sell it and you'll do your thing and blah, blah, blah. And they knew we was going to bump good for them, and we did. And Jamie got his little karate bullshit in, you know, and which was a great spot. And we went in and did what I think was probably one of the best squash jobs that you can do, and keep yourself looking good at the same time. But then when we left, you know, we go to ECW, you know, every night we were getting LOD, LOD, which actually, excuse me, I think kind of helped us. You know, it put a little extra heat on us, and Jamie'd get on the mic and, you know, he's gold on that and say some shit about it and, you know, bury people and do all that shit. So it didn't really hurt us that bad. It really didn't. Like I said, who hasn't gotten beat by the Road Warriors? Did it hurt you, though,
the fact that here you are, you're at the pinnacle, you're in the WWE.
Oh, absolutely.
And the dream is over?
When Shawn and JR came out there, I will not try to hide it. I've said it before. I cried.
Yeah.
I did, man. Dude, you're talking about, you know, I told you 15 years old. I get in the wrestling business, my dream. I quit school. I quit high school to go start wrestling. And, you know, I got a GED since then, but that's neither here nor there. But I was emotionally hurt, you know, and because, like I said, we partied, but so did everybody fucking else at that time.
Right.
So I know it wasn't all because of that. It had to have something to do with what I said about working the 3 different companies. A lot of people can't really say that, you know, that they were working for those 3 companies all at the same time.
You're kind of breaking the fourth wall. You're all in all.
Yeah.
Listen, I got to ask you this question. I've never heard this before, so
Okay.
I think it's very interesting, and it could not be true. Who knows? But that you and Jamie are one of the only ones that knew, and this was a problem also in the WWE, that Miss Elizabeth used to be a sex worker in
That's
Kentucky.
what Jamie says. I don't know. That's what Jamie says.
So he would tell you this, that she was a sex worker?
Yeah, she used to be a call girl is what he said. I have no idea with that. I've never heard anybody but him say it. But
She wasn't working at the physical fitness gym? What? That's terrible.
I have no idea on that.
From?
I would dial her
I'll
up,
just say that's what he said.
God.
I don't know if that's true or not.
Oy.
Wow, you must have heard some stories, brother. Holy shit.
I've
What
seen
was it
it.
like working for Paul Heyman? Albeit brief, but what was it like working for Heyman?
I really liked it, man. We didn't have to do all the hardcore stuff. We never did. They brought us up to do, you know, opening to third match with, basically worked, let me go back for a minute. The Eliminators, in 1994, me and Jamie come back from Mexico. We left USWA and went to Mexico. When we come back, the Eliminators had been beating the fuck for real out of everybody, right? And they're the tag team champions. They had just gotten back from Japan, so they're even stiffer and green. And so we come back. Of course, the people fucking lose their minds because it was supposed to be me and Spike Hubert against the Eliminators. This is in Memphis. And Spike, I think, was legitimately hurt, and Jamie had come back. I came back a little bit before he did from Mexico. So we get him. I go to the ring. Hey, my partner's messed up, blah, 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 but I got a replacement. They hit the Ice Ice Baby, and that fucking place went nuts. We beat them. They went even more nuts. So Eliminators kind of were getting mad too because we just come back and we're beating them, and they got heat on us after most of the matches and got color on us and shit like that. But they didn't really beat us back for the titles ever,
Right.
And they didn't really like that. They were, tough guys and didn't really quite get the business, especially the Memphis style. But at any rate, then when they went to ECW, they billed it as the team that the Eliminators have never beaten. And they brought us in as heels. That was our first time up there. And we had a hell of a match with them and put them over. Then, I don't know, months later, I think it was, is when we go back and we start going on a regular basis. But we worked with Mikey Whipwreck and Spike Dudley almost every fucking night. And, man, that was a pleasure. Those two guys were very fun to work with. We had really good matches. And like I said, there were no chairs involved, none of the tables, none of that shit, man. We just had really good fucking matches.
How about memories of the Dudley Boys?
We only worked them. Like I said, we worked those two most of the time. We worked the Pit Bulls. We worked. I worked Taz in a single. We worked pretty much different people, but mostly those two. So then we get to Hardcore Heaven '97.
There you go.
And me and Jamie were heels the whole time we were there, right? And they come up to us and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna be the baby, or y'all are gonna be the baby faces, and we're gonna be the heels." What? We've been fucking heels the whole time we've been here, and you're gonna take us down to Florida and fucking on a pay-per-view just for no apparent reason, no setup, no nothing. We're gonna be fucking babyface. Yeah, that's what Paulie wants to do. Blah blah blah, and we're gonna do some of y'all spots. If you have seen that match, they did the fucking pump handle spot. You know what I'm saying? That's shit that we need to be doing that. They can't do that shit like we could do. That was our shit, doing stuff like that.
Sounds like Bubba Ray.
So I don't know who it was,
That's
but
Bubba
I
Ray.
thought it was the dumbest shit I'd ever heard in my life. Now Jamie at the beginning saved it with the mic work on Jenna Jameson and blah blah blah. Something that you don't hear, which was great. And see, I sat here and cussed him out at the beginning, but the motherfucker was good. It could probably still be if he fucking had his mind on it, the head on straight. But anyway, there's a spot where Jamie, when they show it back on Peacock or Network or whatever it's on, they don't show this part. They show the spot, but they don't show him get on the mic. He slides out, gives her a kiss, gets back in the ring, starts spitting, and then he grabs the mic and he goes, "Damn, that tastes like dick." And the fucking place went crazy. Yeah, it was great, but they block it out now. But.
Of course. So let me ask you this. So back with Lawler and Jarrett, so we go back to New Jack. New Jack was in studio a couple of times, and he pretty much tells about Lawler and Jerry Jarrett being big time racists, especially with Miss Texas and Jacqueline. Same person. Did you ever hear stories about that?
I'd say that there's in any business. I don't care if you're an electrician or whatever. There's racist people, man.
Sure.
There just is. Now, have I heard? I mean, they took care of Miss Texas, man. She beat everybody. She beat every bitch they brought in, and so on that end of it, I think they were good to her. I've never heard them make derogatory statements towards her or about her. So I can't hold up to that. I think, see, when me and Jamie left Memphis the first time, Jerry Jarrett let us go because we were driving a 76 Thunderbird, okay? This motherfucker had rust all in the roof and shit like that, bucket seats. When it rained inside the car, and I had to scoot over to the middle, and me and Jamie looked like a little couple going down the road, sitting next to each other. So we kept having blowouts because we would buy those what do you call it back then, retreaded tires and shit.
Yeah.
And doing all them miles, man, they blow out. Raven was with us one time, and we had to push the car over a fucking bridge. I'll never forget that. But so we missed or we're late. We usually didn't miss, or we'd be late, because we had to replace a tire and stuff like that. So they let us go. Well, Jerry Jarrett wanted to replace us so bad, and he thought that he brought in New Jack, and I don't remember who the white guy was, but he called him New Jack and Homeboy, and he was trying to replace us. Memphis farted on that shit. They did not like that at all. So I don't know. I think maybe New Jack just had a bad experience in Memphis.
Right.
He was brought in kind of to get over, and it didn't work. And then I think that's when he went to Smoky Mountain, and of course we all know that was gold down there. The gangsters were gold there.
Right.
By the way, 802 Blues says that he loves this interview so much he's about to get fired because his boss has been wondering what he's been doing for the last. With that, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with Wolfie D to close out the show.
Get back to work, 802. We love you.
And APB, American Protection Bureau, voted #1 best on Long Island for all your security needs. Call 631-390-9050. That's 631-390-9050. APB.
Tired of that same old breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Same old tasting scrambled eggs, burger, that dinner steak, ribs, or pork chops? Why not add a little bit of spice or just a touch of heat to make the difference? Change that scrambled egg with a little bit of Johnny Fabulous's John Cena Sr.'s $1 Million Jalapeno Hot Sauce. Great on burgers, steaks, chops, and those barbecued ribs.
Wrestling fans, now you too can look as cool as Monty and the Pharaoh by wearing the official Monty and the Pharaoh sunglasses at night for $8.99 each. That's only $8.99 each. Now available at montyandthepharaoh.com.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestler broadcast, Monty the Pharaoh, seen here out of Indie Music TV, where we have our special guest, Wolfie D. Mr. D.
Mr. D. I had that on my shorts at one point.
One question, would you think that, we were speaking about this on Thursday's show, would you feel that the Andy Kaufman, Jerry Lawler gimmick was the most important thing that ever happened in pro wrestling?
As far as the E in entertainment that Vince loves to speak of today.
Man, I think it was that brought wrestling to a different level, and it was also the absolute best, without a doubt. No one's even a close second at keeping something kayfabed for that fucking long. That was fucking brilliant. Lawler is, some people don't give Lawler the credit, man. Lawler is one of the fucking best, if not the best, I've ever been in the ring with. He calls it all in the ring, and it's all makes fucking sense, man. I used to watch him after my match. I'd watch anything he did because he's a fucking genius in the fucking ring, man. Especially working against big guys and shit, man. Has the best punches in the business. He can throw in, most guys got one punch that they can throw and they have to work really hard to make that look right. This motherfucker can throw jabs, uppercuts over, both hands. I really try to mimic that. I can throw a number of punches, and I pride myself on that, but it's because of him, man. But going back to that, dude, Letterman didn't know what was going on. Nobody knew what the fuck was going on. And how long did they kayfabe that till Lawler finally came out and said it? Because I had him on my podcast, and we talked a little bit about that, man. And I told him, I said, man, that's just the greatest shit. I bought that like a motherfucker.
Yep.
I remember.
I think
we all did.
If I were to give you,
the whole nation
obviously
did.
you're a Memphis guy,
Yeah.
but if I had to give you two big events that happened in pro wrestling that altered, I'll give you three.
Okay.
Lawler Kaufman, Cyndi Lauper, Lou Albano Piper,
That was huge.
Stone Cold Steve Austin, Mr. McMahon.
I mean, you got to go with Stone Cold and McMahon, because that was what started the wars and all that kind of stuff, and that was just a great time in wrestling. Cyndi Lauper and all that took it to a mainstream level, and I think you got to put Hulk Hogan in that category, sure. that sequence there, because he was a part of that. So that all goes along with that time period to me. But for a guy from the Memphis territory to get into it with the guy from Taxi, and it go on to David Letterman and all that kind of stuff, and it was absolutely the most believable of those three you just gave me, and everybody thought it was real. And to me, that makes it that much more important that they were able to kayfabe it and make everybody believe. To this day, let me throw this in there. To this day, you can still, the guys, they don't kayfabe, they ride together, get out of the car together, blah, blah, blah. Man, you can still, even though it's out there, wrestling is a work, you can still make people believe a little bit Even if it's one move, if it's just something you say, you can still do that, man. I've worked the boys before. I've worked a medical crew before. And we're talking in times where it's already been exposed by Vince that, hey, this is just entertainment. I had a medical crew, me and Jamie both. They got Rock and Roll Express, beat the fuck out of us. And it was not part of the deal that the medics were supposed to come out and get us back and everything. But we sold that shit so fucking well and would not break character that we were not hurt. They sent the medics out there. They tended to us just like they would somebody that had been in a car wreck, because we both looked like it. We had so much color. And we worked them. And I've had people tell me, this is what they'll say when they find out I was a wrestler or whatever. Now, I know what y'all do is fake. And, you know, when they say that, I just cringe. But they say, I know what y'all do is fake. But there was this one time when I saw so-and-so and so-and-so, and they did this. And I'm telling you, they were mad. And most of the time when they say that, I know what they're talking about, and I'm thinking, that was work. But if you're good enough, you can make them believe. I've worked the boys where just I took a knee from somebody or something, and I crumbled like I was knocked out. I didn't take a traditional bump, you know. I made it look like I was knocked out, and I come back, and the boys are all, man, you okay, that knee, you get knocked out? No, you fucking dumb fucks. Damn. I can just work.
So I know you're not watching the product really too
Right.
much now, but do you know what's going on with Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch right now? There's a little heat between them.
Okay.
So now it's kind of, everybody kind of think, like even today, now people are like, this is real. These two really hate each other. You think that's falling in that same category?
It could be. It could be. It's hard to tell. I think what they should do, and I think some of them are starting to do this, where, you know, at first I was like, God, don't put fucking shit on Twitter, and, you know, work your angles on Twitter.
Yeah.
But I think it's gotten to a point where you might kind of have to do that a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Work on Twitter against each other and make people think that there's real heat there.
Well, that's the change.
Yeah.
So you mentioned McMahon. Davio brings up, and we spoke about this on Thursday, McMahon Sr. was approached with the Andy Kaufman angle, and Sr. didn't want to do it, and that's how he ends up going to Memphis and starts with Loyal.
Gotcha.
Junior wanted to do it. But anyway, you were in the WWE. Any encounters with Vincent Kennedy McMahon?
Yeah, and it was not really, it was kind of embarrassing because, okay, so I wrote the Nation of Domination rap. They had us go up and record it at the studio. I had written all the lyrics and everything, and we go up there with Jim Johnson, and we put it on tape. Well, he gives us that instrumental to take back with us on a cassette to put in the car while we're traveling in Memphis, because, you know, we kind of did the Run DMC where we pitch back and forth to each other and then sometimes double. So me and Jamie would ride up and down the road rehearsing this thing the whole fucking way because we knew Survivor Series, that was where we were going to debut, yada, yada. Well, we get up there to Survivor Series, and then Vince comes out and he wants to see his new rap act, the entrance. So we got to walk through it. We are the nation of domination. We start. Boom, 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 boom. All of a sudden, we are the nation of domination comes in again at a point where it wasn't supposed to. What he gave us, like we were supposed to be through about, 4 lines, 5, 6 lines before it did it again. So it comes on, and we're rapping over top of it. And then I'm like, oh, shit, hang on, wait. So Vince is watching, and the first time we see him, we fuck it up. And he's like, what's going on here? What's going on? I'm like, this is not the music. I said, they've changed the cadence of the Nation of Domination part. I said, let me listen to it for a second, and I'll fix it. And that's the thing. Jamie don't have a rhythmic bone in his body.
Oh, boy.
And it was extremely hard most nights. He'd get off beat, and I'd have to pick it back up to get to the right beat and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes I just do the whole thing myself. He got ribbed by Owen and Davey Boy one time where he came in late. He was all jacked up, and he was passed out in the dressing room. Our music was literally, we're in gorilla waiting on him. Where the fuck's Jamie? Where the fuck's Jamie? And Wolfie, go get him. Fuck. I go to the dressing room, and there he lays on the floor with shaving cream all over him, all over his gimmick. I got to literally pick him up, put him in the shower, wash him off, and walk his ass to the ring and do the rap by myself.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
So anyway, yeah, with Vince, when Vince comes in a room, he, and of course, Ron and Savio and Crush, they did most of the dealings with us and would just come tell us what was going on. But when he was around, I mean, he's a presence. He's the guy that holds your future in his hands.
Are you like in awe? Like, oh my God.
I've never been in awe of really anybody per se. There's people that I go, I respect that motherfucker, but not starstruck by anybody. But as I said, he holds your future in his hands, and this is the top guy in the wrestling business, and this is the guy you want to work for and the guy you want to like you. He has a presence, we'll say.
Safe to say.
All right, so we want to hit you with something called the Pharaoh's final question.
Okay.
It's off script. He looks in his mind.
Whatever's left of it.
It could be, like I said, anything from like what pillow do you sleep on at night.
I'm not going to ask him that.
Whatever. But how about it?
Yeah, how about it? Well, I've heard over and over during this interview two things: Memphis and Lawler. So let's just go for it. Jerry Lawler or Ric Flair? Who's greater?
Wait, before he answers that, can I get my quick final question?
No, you can't. You get it in, and then I ask my question. You messed up the whole vibe of it. I had a slow delivery.
Okay.
He was ready for the hype. Go ahead. Wait a minute. Get yours in. Go ahead.
Real shoot fight. You against Jamie. Who wins?
Oh, it's already happened a bunch of times. I always win.
You beat his ass?
Oh yeah, I popped his eyeball out one time.
Did he cry?
No, he just got. We were at this lady's house staying the night, and he jumped off the porch and punched me and got on top of me. I reached up and put my thumb in his eye. I felt it go bloop, bloop.
Oh.
It actually popped out, popped back in, and immediately it was black
Oh,
and swollen.
God.
And I rolled him over. And the next time was at a bar. We got in a fight in a bar, and I slammed his head against every wall, I think. Busted him all up. When the bouncers came in, he was on his hands and knees. I had the plunger in my hand, beating him over the head with it where it was broke off about that far.
Well,
So you guys are tight.
that's great.
We left together that night. And had a major car wreck as well.
Nice.
That's another good story. I wish we had time for.
When you're beating him down, do you rap?
All right.
Do you rap with him?
Pharaoh's final question.
I already did it. It's anticlimactic.
Okay.
But
I'll give it
we
to
heard
you.
Memphis and we've heard Lawler all night.
Right.
So I ask you, since NWA and AWA were a lot
Yeah.
closer to styles than WWF was, obviously, with the over-the-top showmanship, Jerry Lawler or Ric Flair, who's greater?
I always thought, even when I was younger, Flair does a lot of the same things in every fucking match. I caught on to that before I ever got into business, and I did not like that. Jerry Lawler, however, like I said, he calls most of it in the ring anyway, so he adjusts and does things on the fly that he doesn't do all the time. There's not certain bumps that he takes, the off the top body slam, the fucking flip over the rope, all that kind of shit. I think Lawler is a better wrestler. I think Ric Flair obviously is a better showman. So it's kind of I don't know that I could pick because it's two different styles. I mean,
Too bad you got to pick.
Too bad I got to pick.
Yeah, you got to pick.
That's just like head to head.
Wrestling wise, I guess you got to go. I guess
it's a draw.
Okay,
It's a draw.
let's go Broadway on that one.
All right.
Who is the GOAT?
Who's the greatest?
That's the same
of all
fucking
time?
question.
No, not between them two. Just anybody. Who's the GOAT?
Greatest of all time.
And
of
not
the
just
business.
not about Russ. Just who's the GOAT. Period. Doesn't matter if they could have been the suckiest wrestler of all
For
time.
this show, it's Hogan. We're Hogan guys.
I was about to say it's between Stone Cold and Hogan, but Hogan, you got to give it to him for paving the way and making it possible for people like Stone Cold and The Rock and everybody else, for all of us, man.
Totally
He
agree.
made wrestling. He took wrestling from the the smoky, smaller venues to the arenas.
Yeah.
So with that, let's tell the fans again about your podcast,
Yeah.
where they can hear it, where they can see it.
Live and in Color with Wolfie D. It's on Apple, all the major carriers of podcasts. Also, this shirt, and I got two others on there. I have a store. It's in the podcast section under Live and in Color with Wolfie D. Click on that. There's one that I did that's really cool. It's that picture on the bottom down there, but I put it on the poster for Boys in the Hood, the movie.
Yeah.
But I changed it from In the Hood to From the Hood, and it's got like 4 stars down there, and it says one of the greatest tag teams of their era. And then where you have the critic's name, I put Mark Dirtsheet. So and it says starring Wolfie D, JC Ice.
Nice.
Wow.
It's a nice looking little shirt. And then I have another one that has a hubcap, says PG-13, that says "Don't diss the man or we'll bum rush your mother."
What day of the show's on?
It comes out every Monday at noon. I pre-tape most of my stuff.
Okay.
But they can listen to all the back ones, any of them they want to. But there's a new one every Monday at noon.
And we'll tell the fans, we'll share that on all the Monty Nefaro media sites. We'll attach
Thank you.
your show. What an incredible interview. If I could speak for the Pharaoh, unbelievable. What a home run.
Hey, man, I'm
are
glad
a
to be
true
here.
talent, sir.
Thank you.
What
Thank
a
you.
true talent.
Thank you.
I want to thank everybody for joining us. After Wolfie D leaves, we're going to have a special quick interview with Northeast's biggest agent, Mr. Eric Sims. So if you want to hear a little dirt from Eric, you're going to hear it. And you know what? It'll be quick and painless, because we can only deal with Sims for a certain amount of time. Anyway,
I'm out of booze.
we want to thank you again for this special edition. Again, what an honor to have someone of your talent to grace us on this show. Fantastic stories. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Jimmy, send us out.
You've been watching Monty and the Pharaoh, and until next time, which apparently is pretty soon from now.
About 5 minutes.
All right. Till next time. Later.